Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning into PhillyCAM Voices. I am your host, Amanda Johnson. Major changes are underway for Philadelphia public schools. The state-controlled School Reform Commission will officially be out next June after it voted to dissolve itself on November 16. Mayor Jim Kenney will pick a new school board that will be approved by City Council. Reporter Nora Carriage has more.
A crowd of parents, students, teachers, and community members erupted in cheers as the School Reform Commission voted to dissolve itself on November 16th.
The roll call to adopt SRC 3 is amended.
Woo!
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Chair Wilkerson?
Yes.
The votes were as follows. William Green, no. Farah Jimenez, abstain. Dr. Christopher McKinley, yes. Estelle Richmond, yes. Joyce Wilkerson, yes. Before the meeting, people gathered outside of 440 North Broad for a rally. Victory speeches were given by City Councilwoman Helen Gim and grassroots organizers from groups across the city.
When they closed our public schools, 24 of them, and put 7,000 kids out into the streets, when they threw out 4,000 school staff, we did weep, but then we got right back up and we organized. And you put in a city council and a mayor and a new vision for this city that was going to prioritize public education and our children. Woo! That is the power of this moment today. And this means this is the beginning, it's not the end. We've got a people's school board to build.
For groups like Our City, Our Schools, the dissolution of the SRC is the beginning of a new fight for a people's school board. Their criteria for the new school board to be appointed by the mayor includes 3 points.
Stakeholders, parents, and community members that represent the majority of Philadelphia families, we are in there. Public education, this victory is for you.
A board that ends conflict of interest where no one on the board will seek to profit off our children's education. And a board that is ready to fight to stand up against Harrisburg and demand fair funding to make corporations like Comcast pay their fair share and to end the school-to-prison pipeline.
We need a board that understands that our schools are not places for police officers and metal detectors. Yes. And our school must feel like a place of learning, not prison. We need a board that is aware for struggles that immigrant students face. Today, I am publicly announcing that I would personally like to join the school board to represent my community of immigrants and Latinos and our experience to ensure equal representation for our families.
The SRC will officially dissolve on June 30th, and the mayoral school board will begin its tenure on July 1st, 2018. For PhillyCAM Voices, I'm Nora Carriage.
Brennan Jones is changing lives one haircut at a time. He created haircuts for homeless, and now he is in a new barbershop because of his good deeds. And it was a gift from a fellow barber. Reporter Rossi Brooks takes us there.
For the past year, Brennan Jones has been giving free haircuts to the homeless on the streets of Philadelphia. And although his efforts have been widely documented, It was a chance meeting with another local barber, Sean Johnson, that has had the biggest impact on his life.
Owner of Taper's Barbershop. I've been cutting hair for about 25 years. So I was downtown back in April. I happened to see a young guy cutting hair. Took notice of his bag. His luggage said haircuts for homeless. So I asked him a few questions.
One question that struck me was he asked me what would I do during the winter months. And I said, well, at this point I probably have to put haircuts for homeless on hold and just go into someone else's establishment. He said, well, I got an idea. I have a building that I want you to come look at.
We had a discussion about, you know, giving this shop up to Brandon for haircuts for homeless. To me, it was a no-brainer.
When I walked in, I was kind of blown away. I asked him, you know, I like the place, but what do you really want? Like, you know, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to work for you, kind of run it as a manager? He said, well, why would you want to be an employee if you can be an owner?
As of that day, you know, we handed Brandon keys over to Phenomenon Perfection Barber Lounge, and this is the new home of Haircuts for Homeless.
She said, because of what you do for others, this is my way of blessing you. And he walked out the door, and I just stood in amazement, just trying to gather my thoughts and take everything in. And now I'm the owner of Phenomenon Perfection Barber Lounge.
By gifting the shop, Johnson continues the compassion that inspired Haircuts for Homeless, which began when Jones, who had a strongly spiritual upbringing in what he describes as a rough area of Chester, was approached earlier this year by a homeless man, gave him a few dollars and a snack, but remained haunted for the rest of the day by the feeling that he could have been, quote, a bigger blessing in that man's life.
I decided maybe March, April, when the weather's a little warmer, I would go out and I would, you know, find some guys to just give haircuts to for a day. The following week, the temperature was a little higher than normal for January. I took that as a sign from God saying, instead of waiting till April, here's your opportunity. So I went out, found a few guys, and I just engaged in simple conversation, and I asked them if I could give him a haircut to maybe put a smile on his face, or, you know, help him get a job, or anything could come out of it, and he agreed. So I cut his hair, and as people were walking by and snapping pictures, the next morning my phone was literally like blowing up. Someone posted a live video of me, you know, cutting hair, and it went viral. It generated over 2.4 million views worldwide. At that moment, I made a decision to not stop. I realized that it was something that was needed, not the haircut, but the attention to shine light on homelessness.
It's just crazy because it was supposed to be a one-time thing, and it actually turning into a big thing, and is very exciting. At times we are very overwhelmed with the support that we get from people all over. I think it is a great opportunity, and I wish him well, and I'm so very proud of him.
My name is Sarah Boyd, and he gave me a free haircut and a shape up, and I think it was pretty nice. He did that. They have a good spirit in here, and they welcome everybody from anywhere.
From his now permanent location at 5925 Old York Road, Brennan will continue free haircuts for the homeless on Mondays. Tuesdays will be $10 discount day for all city employees, and the same $10 discount for any college student on Wednesdays. This is Rossi Brooks reporting for PhillyCAM Voices.
More now on the topic of homelessness in Philadelphia. The Hub of Hope will open its new permanent location in Suburban Station in January of 2018. It will be a daytime engagement center to help the homeless. It is a partnership between the City of Philadelphia, SEPTA, and Project Home. Here to tell us more about this awesome change that is coming on is Liz Hersh. She is our Director of Office of Homelessness Services. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
This is such a great thing. I know it's going to affect a lot of people in a positive way. So tell us, how did it get started? How did it come about?
Well, I really have to give credit to SEPTA, to be honest with you. You know, we all love to hate on SEPTA, don't we, when you're waiting for the bus, or, right? But they saw that there was a homelessness problem in the concourse in Jefferson Station, and instead of just trying to push everybody out or arrest everybody, they said, we're gonna do something that's a real solution. And they are the first major business to step to the plate and really put their money where their mouth is. So we are just thrilled at their leadership. So we've been working together with them over the last year to put this all together. We found a location that we thought was perfect for it, and we brought in Project Home, which is one of our very best providers in the city.
Wow, kudos to SEPTA.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, when things happen, they be like, that's not my problem. This is what we're going. So what services will be provided?
Well, the Hub of Hope, first of all, has been around for 11 years. It's been run by Project Home in the concourse in 150 square feet. Now it's going to 11,000 square feet. So it's really blowing up, you know, much, much bigger. And mostly what they do is they offer a place for people to come in and sit down, get a hot cup of coffee, tea, cocoa, maybe a snack bar, and to be able to take a shower. You know, you heard about the haircuts for homeless. People who are experiencing street homelessness, they don't have a chance to get cleaned up, to use the laundry and get clean clothes. And then there will be services and case managers. And so anybody can come in and use the facilities, but what we're really going to focus on the chronically street homeless, the people who are seriously mentally ill or have a very serious substance use disorder, like an opioid addiction or something like that, and really try to get them into some kind of longer term treatment or housing.
That is a lot of assistance.
It's
that
a
is
lot
not
of
just
assistance.
homelessness.
No, it's a lot. And it's really trying to help. You know, if you imagine what it's like to be on the street when you're homeless, I mean, how do you really have a conversation or figure out what do you need, what do you want? And the whole idea is if you come inside and you can get some of your physical needs met, that then it kind of clears your head and you can start to think about the possibility of coming in. And a lot of people who are street homeless, they've had so much discouragement and failure in their lives. They don't really trust people. You know, they haven't been gotten the medication and the health care. I mean, imagine what that would be like. So just giving them a little bit of love and care and meeting those basic needs, that changes lives. That's what this is all about.
Wow, that is awesome, because you're addressing that natural need first. Like, okay, let us get you something to eat, because a lot of them may feel conscious about the way they're dressed or something. Let's give you a shower, and now they're in a position to really get to the resolution of what was going on.
And it's building trust over time. You know, it's over and over and over a daily contact with people. That's what builds trust and enables people to take a chance and to come back in. And it really works. Philadelphia, in spite of the numbers of homeless people that you see out there, which is a terrible problem, we have the lowest street homelessness rate of any of the major cities in the country. So that outreach and engagement, that really works. It makes a difference over time.
Well, with the things that you are about to offer, I believe that number is going to go down even more. So what are the hours expected to look like?
It's a daytime engagement center, and I think that's one thing we want people to have realistic expectations. We have about 5,700 people who we counted as being homeless last January. We use what's called a point-in-time count, and about 950 were actually on the street, unsheltered. And so the daytime program will offer all of these services, but then when the day is over, people will go back out again. And we do have a lot of extra winter beds. We have about 400 extra winter beds, and we'll try to get as many people housed as possible. It'll be 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, and then weekend hours, and it'll offer some meals, some actual meals on weekends.
Sounds like it's going to be a very helpful and active location.
I think so. I think it's a great start.
Okay. Now, if someone wanted to get in contact, get more information, how could they do that?
Project Home. Go to the website at Project Home.
So everything about the new location and all of those details will be listed on there?
And if they want to make a charitable contribution, they can do that to Project Home and all the services there. Yeah, that would be the way to do it. And we're trying to have more daytime locations around the city. So there's some in West Philly, North Philly, where because it's not one size fits all. And one of the lovely things I think through the fundraising, Project Home is actually re-granting money for other sites to get more washers, dryers, more showers, and more meals. So it's not just in one place. It's really giving people opportunities around the city.
So how are you getting the word out to the people that are homeless?
Most of the word goes out through the street homeless outreach teams. We have 6 teams who are out on the streets 24/7, 365 days a year. And anybody can call anytime you're concerned about someone who's homeless, 215-232-1984.
Awesome. Now you have the information. If you need assistance, please call that number. Thank you, Liz, for your time, and we'll be right back. Members of the NAACP protested outside the Lincoln Financial Field against the NFL and support of the former San Francisco 49er Colin Kaepernick. He has sparked a national debate after kneeling during the national anthem. Reporter Daryl Lloyd and Adam Bornstein has more about this local protest.
When Colin Kaepernick, former 49ers quarterback, knelt during our national anthem, he started a nationwide debate about respect for our country. But the real issue was police brutality and oppression against blacks, especially the deaths of African Americans at the hands of police. President Trump weighed in with his tweets and prompted this response from Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL. Divisive comments like these demonstrate an unfortunate lack of respect for the NFL, our great game, and all of our players, and a failure to understand the overwhelming force for good our clubs and players represent in our communities. The NAACP has taken to the streets outside Lincoln Financial Field before the Eagles-Redskins game, October 23rd, to support Kaepernick and question why another NFL team hasn't signed him after a year. Covering the story is field reporter Daryl Lloyd.
This is a national boycott.
We're here at Lincoln Financial Field, and we're covering the NAACP protest against the NFL and their support of Colin Kaepernick.
While most fans support Kaepernick,
I support Colin Kaepernick personally, and I agree with the protest, and I'm a veteran of the Marine Corps.
I'm completely with the Marine right here. You got to support Colin Kaepernick.
It's not right. I mean, the man's got a right to have a job.
Some do not.
I think they should stand. I think it's just out of respect for the flag and out of respect for veterans. My family, on the other hand, they have a little different take on it.
It's not about the flag and it's not about the song. It's about the other things that go on, and if they're visible and they can make a point and people know what that point is, then they should do it. But people need to know what the right point is.
Colin Kaepernick has every right to, he wants to, do whatever he wants to show his own views and whatnot, but we all have our own right to protest against that.
Whichever side you're on, support for people like Colin Kaepernick and the debate over equality for all people of color will continue.
Stop the NFL from blackballing him and stop him from playing. It has nothing to do with the flag. It has about justice for all people. We said everybody take a knee. We not watching it on TV. We not buying no tickets. We not buying no gear. This is a national boycott.
You have to realize that the protest is against police brutality and the inequality as far as the races go in our country. It has nothing to do with the flag. It has nothing to do with our colors or nothing to do with America as as far as like pride in our country, it has to do with the inequalities across the board, which do exist along with white privilege. They do exist, and we have to address them in order to improve our country as a whole.
Sponsors play a big role in how the NFL maintains its grip on the public. So we plan to come down on the side of the public and protest the sponsors as well. When the sponsors recognize that every NFL game we have protesters outside, they'll start to think twice. When the sponsors see us outside of their headquarters, they'll start to think twice.
So like 2016, he was cut and he started kneeling. And like nobody did the same with him, only a couple guys here and there. Now 2017 comes around, Donald Trump says something bad about it, so now all of a sudden everyone cares about Colin Kaepernick when he was cut, and now nobody cared about him then. Like, talk about where were they then? If they really cared about him, why weren't they doing it with him the moment he did it? That's my question. So it's just so much hypocrisy on both sides.
We are not going to stand for Colin Kaepernick paying the price. Why do black folks have to pay the price for racism?
For PhillyCAM Voices, this is Adam Bornstein, along with field reporter Darrell Lloyd.
Pennsylvania Innocence Project is a nonprofit organization that works to exonerate people who have been wrongfully convicted of crimes they did not commit. Joining us now is staff attorney for Pennsylvania Innocence Project, T.C. Tanski. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about your project.
Pennsylvania Innocence Project, the mission is twofold. First, to get innocent people out of jail for crimes they did not commit. It's the bulk of what I do. Secondly, it's to try and work from a policy perspective to try and prevent wrongful convictions from happening in the first place. And we do that a lot through legislative work, trying to change the laws, or even working with law enforcement and prosecutors to try and develop best practices to keep these things from happening in the first place.
Dealing with the laws is a lot of work and definitely changing them. How did you get started with this project?
So my personal journey was a little bit different than most. I actually started in private practice as a criminal lawyer, defending some of the innocent and maybe some of those not so innocent. But I was really drawn to the project's mission and really the nuts and bolts of what they do. Big nerd. Wouldn't be here if I wasn't. And so I was really lucky to go through their process and become a part of the project a little over 2 years ago.
What are some of the common problems that you constantly see in certain cases?
There are things we know that can contribute to wrongful convictions more often than not. For example, probably one of the largest causes of wrongful convictions are eyewitness identifications, because we know through science that there are factors that go into an eyewitness ID, kind of like a math problem if I'm going to scare people. And so when we look at some of those factors, for example, the lighting, very common sense kind of factor, or even something we call weapon focus, where if somebody's witnessing a crime, science tells us they're more focused on the weapon that person might be using if they are using a weapon. Even to something as simple or as complicated as cross-racial identifications. We know through science that it is easier to identify somebody of a similar race versus a different race, or it even could be a different group. For example, if it's somebody at PhillyCAM working with you, it may be easier to identify that person than somebody, if I asked you to pick somebody out who worked at the Pennsylvania Innocence Project. Other pieces that we know are faulty forensic science. For example, one of our exonerees, Crystal Weimer, was convicted based on what we know to be faulty forensic science testimony. When police found the victim in that homicide case, they determined that a mark on the body of that victim resembled a bite mark. It was a pattern that they believed was a bite mark. Through what we know to be recanted science testimony, for example, when we went to hearing in that case, the forensic scientist came back and said, I issued an opinion 10 years ago that I should not have issued. Crystal was able to be exonerated.
If someone calls, how do you go through the vetting process?
The only way to get into our vetting process is to write us directly. And so we need to hear from an incarcerated person. We unfortunately don't take phone calls, we don't take emails. That person just has to write us directly, tell us about the crime they were convicted of, tell us why they're innocent, and then we can get them started with that process right away.
If someone wanted to get in contact with your project, how could they do that?
Best way to do that is check our website, innocenceprojectpa.org, or they can call our number at 215-204-4255.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back right after this. The stars came out to celebrate Grammy Award-winning singer Dionne Warwick at the Kimmel Center. She was the year's honoree of the Marian Anderson Award. Reporter Toya Hayes was at the prestige event.
The honoree of this year's Marian Anderson Gala concert was singer and philanthropist Dionne Warwick. On hand to present the award was longtime friend and industry legend Clive Davis, who signed Warwick to Arista Records in 1976.
That I present the 2017 Marian Anderson Award to Miss Dionne Warwick.
After receiving her award, Dionne Warwick shared with the gala's attendees how much it truly meant to her to receive an award in honor of Philadelphia's own Marian Anderson.
To say that this award means an awful lot to me is an understatement. The only other honor that I've received over this lifetime, and I've received quite a few, I must say. The first was when they renamed my grammar school that I attended in my name. And I never dreamed of anything to surpass that. Guess what? I did it tonight.
The Marian Anderson Award is in honor of beloved contralto, Philadelphia-born Marian Anderson. Like Dionne Warwick, Miss Anderson broke color barriers within the arts by becoming the first African-American to perform at the Lincoln Memorial. From then on, she sang for President John F. Kennedy's inauguration and was later bestowed the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Dionne Warwick was named this year's recipient in recognition of her artistry as well as her charitable work for a number of causes, including music education, AIDS research, and world hunger. The gala concert's host for the evening was Dionne Warwick's longtime friend and Philadelphia DJ, Jerry Blavitt.
I met this young lady basically 60 years ago. And from the moment that I looked in her eyes, I said, this is without a doubt the talent.
The evening had many star-studded performances, including another notable opera singer, soprano Allison Cambridge.
But you, Ms. Warwick, are the epitome of the perfect diva.
Other performers honoring Dionne Warwick were Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Darling Love, R&B duo Billy Davis Jr. and Marilyn McCoo, and R&B group Russell Tompkins Jr. and the New Stylistics. I'm Toya Haynes for PhillyCAM Voices.
That is all the time we have. Thanks for watching PhillyCAM Voices. And if you would like to know more about PhillyCAM, you can go to phillycam.org. And to check out other episodes, including this one, you can go to our YouTube channel at PhillyCAM Voices. And be sure to check us out on all social media sites at PhillyCAM Voices. See you next time.